the moment when an idea is first born, and they're always born messy, right? Like they're never born, complete or I still find that exhilarating.
Hello, I'm Ruhanen and welcome to One Step Ahead. As you know, it's a series of short, incisive interviews with some of the world's leading marketers. And today I'm joined by Brent Smart, who is the CMO of Telstra, Australia's largest telco. And Brent's been on a mission to really drive and turn around a brand that has been well established in the Australian community for a long time. So this is One Step Ahead. So we're going to focus on the actions you take to get out in front and stay there.
So for me, the most important thing for us to do as marketers is be distinctive.
Yep.
So innovation, of course, is important, and using tech in interesting ways. We work in a tech category, we're a telco, that matters. But for me, the really important creative innovation that we need to bring to brands is how do we make those brands really, really distinctive, like nothing else in their category. In fact, I like to think about like no other big brand in the market. And so our innovation is really focused on creative innovation, on creative excellence, and how we can use creativity to be a distinctive brand more than anything else. That's our number one priority. Yeah, well, we've really focused on creative excellence. So I believe that creativity has to be a capability. If you think about the capabilities we have in the average marketing team, we have a media capability, a marketing technology and automation capability. We have all that stuff. But creativity is kind of this black box thing that happens at the agency. So we wanted to treat creativity as an absolute capability. I have a head of creative excellence on my leadership team. We've created a whole program of creative excellence, which teaches our people what great looks like, what it takes to get to great, and importantly, create a single language around creativity. So we have, it's called the Telstra Creative Dial. We mark every single output that we create every single quarter. So it gives teams feedback on like, where's the work at? It gives us true intellectual honesty about how good the work is, and not just the big, films, like every single touch point. And that's how we can impact the customer experience, by really caring for some of these touch points that don't get cared about enough, Discipline's super important. So you need to do it every quarter, and you got to do it for every piece of work, and you got to give feedback to every team. Like you just have to do that consistently, because it says to people it matters. But ultimately, I think what's really important is you've got to give people creative confidence. And this is something I've learned. Like I think I was lucky because I grew up in agency, so I was pretty confident around the work. But a lot of people in corporates, they're not, and creativity is a bit sort of scary. And so we want to build creative confidence in our teams. So what the dial does and the marking does, it actually helps build confidence, because A, they see improvements, but B, they also get really good feedback when the work doesn't hit the mark. We really make sure we work with them on, let's have a look at the brief, and let's look at how the choices we made through the process, and really try and teach and help the teams learn and build that creative confidence. And then the other thing you got to do is build creative confidence in the organization. So you've got to build creative confidence that, like, if we do something that is more ambitious, that is more creative, that will deliver commercial results. So it's so critical that you make that narrative really clear. Like why do we want to be creative? It's not to win awards. It's because it delivers commercial success. And then secondly, measure in a way where you can prove that commercial success. Yeah, well, the Telstra brand's interesting. It's an ex-government brand, been around a long time, and there's a lot of people who judge us for what we were, not what we are. So I can point to some fantastic NPS scores that show that we're delivering better for our customers than we ever have. And there's a whole group of non-customers who don't experience that because they're non-customers, and they very much have a lot of baggage around how they think about the brand. So to move that group, and if you want to move your overall reputation, it's not just about moving the people who already like you, like it's absolutely about moving the detractors and changing how they feel about the brand. So it's a harder job, but it requires reappraisal. If you turn up the same old way, you are not going to move their very entrenched perceptions about the brand. So that whole soundbite of if you want to change how people feel about the brand, change how the brand feels, it's very much about turning it with a whole new voice that's quite surprising, that makes people reappraise and really changes, what they thought the brand was. It's a really great question. And I think ultimately it comes down to two things. I always say a desk is a really dangerous place to do marketing from. So I think you got to get out to stores, you got to get out to the regions, you got to feel it and sort of walk in their shoes. I think that's super important. The other thing I think is if you do focus on universal human insights, then they connect emotionally with people, whether you live in New York City or you live in Bathurst. In a world that loves to really trade on how different we are and divided we are, I think that really great brand builders are able to go, no, hang on, what can bring us together.
Yeah.
Like, what are the universal human insights that can emotionally connect very disparate groups of people? And then I always say nothing integrates like an idea. Like a great idea, I think, can again just really connect all sorts of different people. If you're not going after a very small defined target, but you're trying to do something that is for, the country.
Yeah.
I think at that level, and you have to with a brand like Telstra. So I sort of think about how do we build stuff that's really popular, that's going to get into mainstream culture, that's going to really. And the old mum test is, I always want to do work that my mum will love and a kangaroo will love.
Yes.
Like I think you got to have work that it's clever and original and hasn't been done before, but you also want your mum to love it. So it's got to be sort of popular and funny and warm and all the things that just as human beings we can't help but connect with. In a marketing sense, I think we've got too focused on cheap, efficient content. I feel like that's where too much of the AI conversation is. So a great example for us is we created a wonderful experience that only AI could have created, which is every year at Christmas, we provide free calls to Santa on our payphones. Right, so we've still got payphones all around the country. And for a lot of Australians, they don't connect much with payphones. They've got a mobile phone, that's what they need. But at Christmas time, we created an AI conversation with Santa, and all these kids around the country were completely enchanted by having a chat with Santa. So it's created this really awesome experience. We had 800,000 Australians experience it last year, spending 5+ minutes on a payphone talking to Santa, and it's becoming a ritual in Australia. So we've done it for 4 years now, and we're hoping it can become as big as going to see Santa at Macy's, for instance, in New York or something like that. We want it to be a really strong Christmas ritual. But importantly, we've created an experience which is so much richer through AI versus just going like, okay, how can we do all this content kind of cheaper and faster? That's fine, and we're all going to do that.
Yes.
But I'm more excited about the creative potential of using AI, where it can actually add to the experience and make the experience way more interesting than it would have been without it. And it's always been about the work. It's still about the work. The reason I wanted to become a CMO was I felt that if rather than me handing ideas over to marketers, if I could actually be on the other side of the table and I could get those ideas, the challenge of getting those ideas through a big organization, I still find that inspiring and energizing. But mainly, the moment when an idea is first born, and they're always born messy, right? Like they're never born, complete or I still find that exhilarating, and I look forward to it all the time. I spend Tuesdays with the agency. It's my favorite day of the week. Yeah. So ideas and creativity give me amazing energy, and they're why I do this. And I would say to anyone in the business that if you are in the business because you love the work, I think that can sustain you for a really long time. Money's great, but I would say if you're about the work, I think that can give you a whole lot of energy and importantly a whole lot of reward.
Well, Brent, you're an absolute master. You've done incredibly well. We're very proud of you, obviously as a friend, but also as a great client.
Well, thank you, mate.
Congratulations on all your success today, and no doubt there's more coming. I've seen the body of work that's coming down the pike, so to speak, and it's amazing to see how you've continued that trajectory of performance in terms of creativity, and no doubt the impact that it's getting, and I know the results that it's getting inside of your company. So from our side, congratulations. Really well done. I know it's a lot of hard work, and you deserve all the accolades that you and Telstra are getting. So
thank you,
you
mate.
and your team, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the partnership that we get from Omnicom and your agencies. They do fantastic work for us. So
good, mate.
Thanks, mate.